let's talk about verbs. There are different kind of verbs. So we're going to break this up into two sections. They'll still all be in this one lecture, but they're going to be broken up into two parts. So our first one is build. So we're going to build something. It's with H's, and then we build them. We build. To buy, it's like you're taking money out of your hand and you're giving it to the person. You're going to buy. We just talked about cook. You're just cooking. Cry, it's the tears, they're coming down, you're crying. Dance. If you're going to get more specific about your dance, then you can get into what kind of dance it is, but just the general word dance is this. Keep is with your K's and you keep it. This is a perfect example of how everything is different, or is it the same except for one thing is different. Keep, figure. That's why last unit you guys were doing all kinds of things with math, and I was trying to explain that this is math and that this is figure. Here we have keep. They actually bounce. Keep. Knit. You've got your two knitting needles and we knit. Laugh. We're showing the laughter. Laughter. Make. This is when you actually make something. You're making a new dress. You're going to make a mud pie outside. This is not that you make me happy. This is that you're physically making something. To play. There's usually movement with it, like little circles, clockwise circles. To sew, you have two ways to sew it. You're holding it and you have your thread, and sew your needle and thread, you're sewing it. The other way is that you're putting it through the sewing machine. Kind of depends upon what type of sewing you're talking about. You can shout a couple of different ways. You can shout, depends upon how you want to do it. Then we have sleep, we sleep. Basically our whole face just kind of shuts down, sleep. Smile. Talk. You can talk this way. Then we can talk this way like everybody's talking. There are many, but the one that most people do is talking. To wash. You're going to wash the clothes. We're washing this. That's one kind of verb. Now the other kind of verb is something that we have in ASL that we don't have in English. We've talked about it a little bit, but we're going to hit on it here with, I think it's 6 or 7 verbs. These are your directional verbs, because it depends on who is where, how you're going to sign it. For example, ask. There's one sign that you can just ask. There's no direction to that. So you can just use this as ask. But you can also use what's kind of like a question mark. So if we do it sideways, you have a question mark. But now we're going to do it forward. So I want to ask you a question. So I'm asking you. But you can ask me. Or I can say, go ask him over there. Go ask him. So it's directional. So wherever the asking is happening is where the hand goes, where the palm orientation is. Bring, same thing. Can you bring me that book? So you can point to the book and then bring it to me. Or I'm going to bring that tomorrow. Yeah, I'll bring that. So it's directional. Give, same thing. It's done with crooked or with your X's, and I can give it to you. You can give it to me. I can give it to that person over there. They can give it to you. So it's directional depending upon where you're doing it. This is a wonderful example of where you have to set up the subject and the object, and then you can do the verb, because it's impossible to say, please give her the whatever, because we don't know what we're doing. We have to know what it is before we can do the action. Pour, P-O-U-R. If we're going to pour some water, you can pour it right there. But what if I want you to pour something on that plant that's up there? Well, then you're going to have to pour it up there. Or what if I want you to pour some weed killer on the weeds that are over there? Well, then you're not going to just pour it here. You're going to find the weeds and you're going to pour it on the weeds. So it's directional. You're going to have to do it where the pouring needs to happen. The same thing with see. You can see, but it's like, did you see that? Show. This is the sign for show, but you can show everybody. You can show me. And the last one is tell. You can tell. You can tell her, tell him, but you can also tell me. Tell me. So that's where our signs start incorporating so many of the other words that people in English get confused and don't think we have the signs for. They're in there. It's how we sign them.